to do with the Fresnel properties and how these metals fall off on the edges as well. Okay, that aside, we've also now got this fancy new tab for anisotropy. So if we come over here, you'd expect this slider to do something, but it doesn't. And I found that that doesn't work until you come over to the basic tab, and under your BRDF model, you have to change it to something other than octane. See here, if we go to the roughness and increase this, we'll see kind of our standard blurring. But now if we come back and go to Beckman, you'll see that this will just start to blur on one axis. And right now it's just doing a horizontal axis, so we'll have to fix that. And also let's take the anisotropy up to 1. So there we go, now we can see it just streaking horizontally. Now there's a tab for rotation, and here we're gonna add in a C40 octane float texture. So again, just a value between 0 and 1, and I found that here you can see as we go, at some point it snaps into alignment, and now we've got some perfect anisotropy. But I think the value that we'll want is 0.25. 0.75 also works just as well. So now we've rotated it 90 degrees, and if we kind of fly in here, you'll see that we can get super close to this material and never see any lines, whereas before, the difference is if we come close enough, we will see those little individual scratches. And that's actually physically accurate, that these striations in a material will cause the highlights and reflections to blur out vertically. So pick whichever you want. I think this one's like a pretty sweet shortcut, but here we can actually get some more complex brushed metal look. So if we go back again, we can take our transform back up. So let's delete some of these zeros and we'll get more of a brushed metal look. And maybe we take this multiply node back a little bit until the effect is a little more strong. So I think this is an interesting alternative here where you can actually see the brushed metal. Alright, so let's bring back our lids here and check out what's going on. So this glass material is obviously way too rough. Let's bring that down. And then let's go to our index and make sure, I don't know, let's go around 1.5 or so. But let's lift this up and see what's going on with the lid itself. So let's grab this one and bring this up. And it's still a little too rough, so let's bring that further down until we can kind of see what's happening. So this doesn't look very semi-transparent to me. It's overly reflective. And when I mess with the index, nothing really looks like it's happening until we hit rock bottom here. So it's just behaving really weirdly. And this is a problem that you'll run into a lot with octane and glass materials, is you have to be really conscious of the way the normals are facing. So on this lathe object here, we've got a flip normals, and that is going to essentially fix our problem. So let's turn fake shadows on, which helps speed up the calculations in almost all cases. And you can see now the index is actually affecting the image, but now we're overly transparent, and the issue is that the reflection is set to this gray value. So let's bring it all the way up to white. And there we go. Now we're actually seeing some reflections and we're seeing some semi-transparency. So this looks a lot more like glass now. So it's a simple fix, but something to be aware of. And if you had this issue with something that had already